Gentlemen are about to just a quick fire. I know you've already done it, but can you 100% you did this phone off, flicked it up inside the chapel, starting with how great thou art. Thanks, Matt. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this service that honours the very much loved and the irreplaceable June Lilius Matilda Britz. June, Junie, to many of you, but to two lucky young people, she was always simply just their Nanny June, her two grandchildren. Today we want to remember all the very, very best things about Junie's life. The things that made you smile. The things that made you really appreciate that she was part of your life. You may have known her for a very, very long time. You may have only known her a short while. You may be lucky enough to be in her family or one of her friends. But I know everyone here is truly thankful that they knew her for however long and in whatever way. I know sometimes when we read of someone's passing, we sort of think to ourselves, should I go to the service? But can I tell you, always come, every single time, always come, because the greatest comfort for family is seeing faces of people that they know love their mum. It gives them enormous amount of comfort that someone made the effort to come here, to remember her life, to say thank you for the memories, but also to show them that mum mattered. When we lose someone who we can't imagine life without, I think we as human beings, we always would do almost anything if we could be granted just one more day, one more chance to sit and have a chat, one more smile, one more memory, one more hug. But slowly, we do start to remember not just that you've lost her, but that you were lucky enough to have her in your life for so long, because 90 years is a wonderful innings, 9 decades on this earth. There are a couple of people who want to stand up and sing her praises, because everyone sees someone else differently. Every relationship we form while we're here on earth is unique. It's special. And with that comes unique and special memories. So to give you a little glimpse into her mum's life, I'd like to ask her favourite daughter, Linda, to come on up. Thanks, Linda.
A eulogy usually takes the form of a chronicle of the departed person's achievements, listing some of their history and their milestones in their life. But when I thought about doing that for dear Junie, it just didn't feel quite right as the way to honour her. Everything you need to know about Junie's life achievements is sitting right here in this chapel today. They are fully described by the presence of my brother and in that of her beloved granddaughter Kimberly and her other granddaughter Madeline, who is unfortunately not with us today. History and memory are important, but the past wasn't a place where Mum usually chose to dwell. Maybe it was because there were some traumatic and painful memories for her in that past that overwhelmed her. But I like to think it was because she chose to remain positive and optimistic about her life as it was in the moment she was living it. She took great pleasure in all the simple things in life. A nice meal, a good chat, someone to spend a little time with. That's what she loved. As many folks age, there's a tendency to repeat the stories of the past, but Mum was never one to do that. She would much rather talk about what we were up to, where we were going, how our friends were, than reminisce about the good old days. I'd like to share some little anecdotes and stories that may help you understand the woman that Junie was and the memories that are going to live on with us. Junie was fearless. As a little 6-year-old girl, I can distinctly remember being at the showgrounds with Mum, and she was on all the scary rides. And poor little 6-year-old me was standing there hanging onto the show bags, waiting for her to come down safely, because I would not do it with her. She was so bold. She was also fearless when, as a single girl during the 1950s, she bought herself a trusty Holden, And she took off on some epic driving holidays from Newcastle to Brisbane and to Melbourne, sometimes alone, but sometimes accompanied by her parents or a girlfriend. Junie was also full of joy and fun. She had a wicked sense of humour, and she could give as good as she got. Our epic games, you'll remember these, Kimberly, Uno and Rummy, would result in verbal slanging matches of the worst kind. But, of course, it was always done in jest. Fun for Bruce and I as was days spent at the ocean baths in Newcastle, where she taught us to love the ocean and swim like fishes. And that love of the water is something that we will carry with us always. For me in particular, it was standing around the piano with Mum and singing show tunes and songs from the old Hollywood movies of the 1940s. This fostered my lifelong passion for music and song. Later on in the service, you're going to hear just about her favourite song from The Sound of Music, Climb Every Mountain, and she used to belt that out with her beautiful mezzo-soprano voice. It was wonderful. Mum inherited her love of gardening from her own dear parents, Norman and Gladys, and even in her later years she enjoyed pottering away in the garden. I'll never forget on one of her very last visits to us down in Hobart, even though she was pretty frail, she absolutely insisted on taking the scissors to my friend's pot plants as we sat on the veranda having Christmas drinks. Junie was also brave. I think about the bravery it must have taken for her to walk away from her first unhappy marriage in 1966, taking me as a toddler and Bruce as a little boy to return home to her loving family. And she was brave facing the loss of her greatest love, our beloved stepfather Charlie, who was sadly taken from her in 1979 after a brief 6 years of happily married life together. But she never let those sadnesses completely crush her spirit, although at times they did take their toll. Junie was also truly kind and generous. Wherever she went, she collected friends, and some of her newest friends from the nursing home are here today. She took great pleasure in sewing beautiful clothes and gifts for her family. I always remember the gorgeous shiny green bikini tops and mermaid tails that she made one Christmas for Kimberly and Maddie so they could be little mermaids. She formed the two great friendships of her later life through playing bowls. Those friendships lasted well over 25 years with our dear Auntie Beryl and her gentleman friend Ted. For many years they started their summer days together with an early morning dip at Merewether Baths. Just in the past week, I know many of the staff at the nursing home where Mum did spend that last year sought out my brother to say what a warm, friendly and grateful person Junie was and what a delight it had been to care for her. Most of all, when we think about Mum, our enduring memories will be of love and kindness. She had unbounding amounts of both to give, and she gave them away freely with joy and no expectations. Thank you, Mama, for teaching us the greatest lesson in life, that love indeed conquers all. Rest well now, dearest Junie.
Love is one of those magical things. The more you give away, the more you have, the more you get back. It's this never-ending circle. And I know lots of people, when they say, oh, I hate coming to funerals, because they think these days are about loss and sadness, but really they're about love and saying thank you. As I mentioned, every relationship is different, and to talk about his Auntie Junie, I'd like to ask her nephew Jeff to come on up. Thank you, Jeff.
Auntie June. She'll always be my Auntie June. But it's fair to say that life for her wasn't entirely kind. She was not wealthy. She travelled to a limited degree. and was comfortable with a simplistic life. My visits to both Jenny McLeod and Mayfield Aged Care were of a Thursday, and she enjoyed those visits.
No, she loved them.
And our discussions were basically around family. Auntie absolutely loved her two children and missed Linda terribly, but knew that Tasmania was her home, but nonetheless was lonely for her daughter. Bruce, it should be mentioned, was a world-class son who demonstrated love, affection, care, comfort and guidance on a daily basis. Bruce is fortunate in having a loving and attentive wife, Carol, as well as Maureen, mother-in-law. As mentioned previously, my visits with Auntie were regular, and over time I witnessed a slow and steady decline. She missed her brother, Jack, my brother Paul, our father, as well as Nana and Norm, her parents. When I visited Auntie at Jenny McLeod's, the door would not be locked but closed, and on many occasions I found Auntie asleep in her reclining chair. She would sometimes sleep for over an hour, and when she woke, she would ask me how long had I been sitting in the lounge room, and I'd always say, about 5 minutes. After visiting Auntie, I would change into my tennis gear and head off. She always gave me a warm embrace. Maybe at that time she was checking that I was going to go, that I'd worn out my welcome. But she thanked me profusely, and without exception, she'd always say, "I love you, Jeff." She meant it, and I knew she loved and appreciated me dearly. In conclusion, I loved you, Auntie, and it was reciprocated in spades. If you happen to bump into your brother Jack, our father, he'll be enjoying a top-notch scotch, and we'll shout you a shandy or a cordial, and no doubt you'll have much to talk about. I'd also like to thank the staff of Mayfield Aged Care Facility, I only know Lynn, who have been very, very kind to Auntie and have cared for her in an exemplary manner. They are just wonderful. God bless you, Auntie. Rest in peace. Your passing has left a huge void, but now you're with Charlie, your loving nephew. Thank you.
You know, I think she was a very rich woman. Just wasn't in things or money, which I can tell you when it comes to this day, doesn't matter one bit. You can't take it with you. You know, when we lose someone, there is lots of sad moments, quiet moments. But what starts the smiles and the laughter is when we start to go through photographs to share with everyone today. And all of a sudden you're looking back at memories, moments, instances captured in time. Some of the photos selected today come from big occasions, but most of them, just like real life, come from the everyday occurrences that turn out to be our favourite memories. So please join Junie's family in a look back at a wonderful life. Thanks, Matt.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. to feel and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed, when we bent there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've numberless days to sing God's praise. Then when we first begun, amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
Wonderful. Family put that together themselves. And what I always notice, and I don't know whether you do, is the hair might have got a little greyer. It might have been a few more wrinkles. But from the first photograph to the last, the smile stayed exactly the same. The twinkle behind the eyes stayed exactly the same. Junie was fun. She was full of joy. She was kind and loving and caring, devoted to her family, supportive of her family, never judged. And her family was everything. She loved her garden, always loved gerbras. She's a beautiful sewer. She's a great cook. Saturday night hamburgers, family favourite. She didn't travel much, but she did love visiting Linda in Tassie. She's been on her own a long time, 40 years. She lost Charlie after only 6 years together, and they were wonderful years. And then later enjoyed 20 years with a wonderful companion, Ted. They loved the bus trips and the bowling club, and June and Ted and Beryl loved lunch on a Friday at Cardiff RSL. Hey, Hey, It's Friday, I think it was called. She loved to read Danielle Steele novels, and she loved movies, Hollywood musicals. Sound of Music, the favourite. She had a beautiful voice, and she played the piano. These are all just little things about Junie. And of course, all of you are lucky to know hundreds more, thousands more, a lifetime of little things about her. What I wanted to promise you is that the memories that you have today, I think we get scared that they'll fade and you'll forget things, but you won't forget a single thing about your mum. You remember everything about your nanny. It's those little things that pop into your head 1,000 times a day that make you smile, that make you grateful for someone. And you realise that even though they're not a visible part of your life anymore, they're always your mum, they're always your nanny, they're always your friend, they're always part of your family. What we hope is that you'll stay together a little longer today and head up to Diggers to share some time with these people who are missing her the most. They just want to be with all of you, chat, tell stories, share memories, and allow one memory to lead to another, until there are lots of laughter. And that would be Junie's wish too. If you know the words, perhaps you'd like to join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. I died but did not leave you. I am here, I have not gone. Though my spirit left my body, don't be sad, for I live on. My love is all around you. Can you feel it? Can you see? That gentle breeze upon your face is not the wind, but me. I'm the sweet song of a bluebird when spring is in the air. I'm the gerbers in the garden. You can find me everywhere. And whenever you are missing me, look up to heaven's skies. I'm the twinkle in the stars. I'm the sunset and sunrise. I'm a raindrop and a rainbow. I'm the ocean waves of blue. So everywhere you go, you know, I live on, loving you. Death is the end of a life, not of a relationship. Everything she meant to you remains. There's a famous quote that people will forget the things that you do and they will forget the things that you say, but they will never forget the way you made them feel. And Junie made you feel loved, valued, and listened to. As a final way to honour her and every memory she's left in your safekeeping, as we close our service here in the chapel, can I ask, if you're able, would you all please stand? June Lilius Matilda Britz. In love and respect, we have remembered your life and recalled the person you have been. In this final act, in sorrow but without fear, your character and personality we commit to our memories. Your love and your friendship we commit to our hearts. And your body we commit to its natural end. We're so grateful for the life that Junie has lived and for all that her life meant to those she loved and those who loved her. We now leave her in peace, and with love and respect we bid her goodbye, but only until you see her once more.